Okay, we are here again. This is an update, and Carmelo Anthony was found guilty, as I told you earlier, and now we know he has been sentenced to 35 years in prison. I will repeat, Carmelo Anthony was found guilty and sentenced to 35 years in prison. That is the update. Let's talk about this open discussion. Austin Metcalf's parents read victim impact settlement to Carmelo Anthony after sentencing. And this is a big old mess, for sure. I hate to see the young man involved in this like that. I also hate to see the passing of Austin. A Collin County jury sentenced 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony to 35 years in prison Tuesday, which is today, for the unaliving of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet last year. It came just hours after Anthony was found guilty of unaliving Austin in a fatal stabbing. He faced up to life in prison. Jurors had the option of finding him guilty of manslaughter or murder if they didn't find him not guilty. The two charges are distinguished by intent. Murder means the injury believed Anthony knowingly caused Metcalf's death. During the trial's punishment phase, Anthony's mother, Kayla Hayes, asked the jury for mercy. He's my oldest. He's my firstborn. He will always be my baby, she said. I love him very much. She was asked if she believed her son had any regrets. Yes, I know my son, she said. He's very sorry for what he did. Please have mercy on my son, she added. During the closing arguments in the punishment phase, Anthony's defense attorney, Mike Howard, acknowledged how difficult the decision was for the jury and asked them to consider sudden passion in determining their punishment. They don't have to be sure, he said. They only need to believe Anthony felt terror in the moment. I can only ask you to consider both sides, to follow your hearts, and to follow the law, he said. Prosecutor Attorney Bill Waskey argued in response that sudden passion by beneficiaries do not apply to this case and this set of facts. He asked the jury to consider a life sentence, telling jurors mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Regardless of what you do today, plenty of life sentences have already been handed out in this case, he said to the jury. The decision comes after both sides rested their case Monday afternoon. Anthony's defense lasted 2 days and ended without him taking the stand. Prosecutors argued the stabbing was an unjustified attack on Metcalf, while the defense said Anthony acted in self-defense. The case has drawn national attention and controversy over the race of both teens. Anthony is black and the victim was white. None of the jurors were black. Several schools were competing when Anthony sat under the Memorial High School tent that was perched in the bleachers. Metcalf and others had repeatedly told Anthony to leave. Witnesses testified, leading to an escalating confrontation. During the nearly week-long trial, prosecutors said Anthony provoked Metcalf, and witnesses have testified that Anthony was the aggressor. Anthony at one point reached inside a bag and replied, "Touch me and see what happens," according to a police report. Metcalf pushed Anthony, according to witnesses who said Anthony then pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the chest. The teens, both from Frisco, didn't know each other. The trial drew lines of spectators hoping to find seats in the gallery and unfolded amid heavy security at the Collin County Courthouse. As police officers watched Tuesday, dozens of people stood outside the courtroom in 90-degree heat to await the verdict. There were wails of grief from one woman, "This isn't real," when the results became known. So there is all type of emotions and feelings going over this. We're going to be discussing it. I did do a part one that I'm going to be editing down to just get to the facts because we talked about other conversations. There was a post today of a cross being burned downtown Chicago. I don't know when it happened, but somebody burnt a cross in downtown Chicago. That's crazy. He says this is a criminal justice free Karmelo. I feel for him and his family. If they gave him 20, he would been home in 10. I don't think they wanted that for him. Damn, they sentenced him quick. Don't they usually have them come back for the sentencing hearing? Miami's in the building. I'm not sure how that works. To be honest with you, sad. I'm beyond pissed off. Hypocrisy. And I'm sure I do understand how everybody has a lot of emotions. I'm sure people wonder why my emotions are not higher. I have learned to not let these type of situations deal with me personally when I'm speaking on them because they'll have a tendency to make me not really have a good presentation. And from my point of view, all the mistakes happen earlier. So all the mistakes uh, been happening. What is it going to take for black people to see we have an open enemy? He will probably not be home until after he's at least 45. You say disgusting and a clear case of democracy, of hypocrisy, and if not overturned, may the fire burn of karma. I wonder if the defense tried to move the venue. From what I've seen, he did not have a good defense. His defense attorney was a very laid back, chill type of person. And in those type of situations, I'm going to be honest, in those type of situations, it would be very difficult for a white person, especially, or a person that has to live in that area to go against the crowd. So the chance of him getting a fair trial in that area is going to be not so good. And the chance of him getting a fair trial in the whole United States is not that good. And he he really had no chance, really, anywhere unless he had a biased black jury. What you want me to say? Uh, I'm going to be honest, and the statement, touch me and see what happens, he's fried. Having the knife in the first place, fried, and having the knife and said, touch me and see what happens, and then you shank somebody, you're going to prison. White, black, green, yellow, whatever. Maybe if you're white and it's a white area and nobody's fair and honest, you might be able to get evidence not brought and all of that. But the black like that in a white area like that, bringing a knife and saying, touch me and see what happens. Until I see other evidence that people are going to bring out, then I might have a, say, well, maybe he didn't get a good trial. Maybe they didn't put everything on the table. I can consider that. I will consider I don't know everything. Maybe everything wasn't presented, which is a high possibility. But saying, touch me and see what happened, it'll just be hard for me as a good attorney to beat that. Like, that's premeditated. Justified, was it justified what he was? What justified? Was what justified? Was it justified him poking him? No, not that I've seen. I don't see what was justified. I see maybe, yeah, was the decision justified? The decision justified? He came off lucky for a murder. Yeah, he came off 35 for a murder. He came out, yeah, 30. He ain't getting no less than no 35 for a murder. Now, manslaughter, when you say touch me and see what happened, you ain't gonna get the manslaughter. It looked too premeditated. I mean, what do you want me to say? I can't judge it racially. I got to judge it by what I really see, and that's what I see. It's the touch me and see what happens. Uh, how would I defend you? Touch me and see what happens. Man, you could have left. You could have left, bro. You could have just left. You could have just left. You know, why fight to be around a bunch of haters? I understand he don't got the right to tell you to leave, but you have to make him break the rules, not you. Let him get the lawsuit. Let him, you know what I'm saying? So I think other things have been happening. Yeah, Larry. Yeah, yeah, Larry. Yeah, Larry. Yeah, yeah. When he said that, it opens up too much because you said that you could have left. You could have said so many stuff could have happened when you said that. When you said that, you had other options. And this is why I'm saying it's some type of insanity, not the serious type, but there definitely, for me, something had been happening to Carmelo, and he was fed up, and he wasn't in his right mind. The lawyer could have won like that. The lawyer could have got him less time if he did a good job at finding out from Carmelo what was really up with you, bro. I could have got him less time for sure. And I'm not even a lawyer. Because all you had to do was find out what was really bothering him. We don't know. Also, I'm putting him on the stand. Why you ain't put him on the stand? No, it hasn't been made public that I know of. But It's definitely. Oh, I know for sure there was something else. There was for sure something else. There. If he said, "Put your hands on me and find out," that means there was something there. He was on something. He was on something. That's why he's found guilty because that proves he was on something. But the defense didn't tell him what he was on. What was he on? Why was he like that? God could have helped him. Why was he like that? Come on, man. It to me, it sounds like somebody has been bullied. It sounds like somebody that's fed up with how they're treating him in that area. To me, it sounds like, looking at his skin color, it sounds like a victim of racism. To me, that would be my first guess. He's been a victim of a lot of little racist stuff, and he's fed up. Do I think he's gonna do the whole 35 or maybe 15-year release? He's going to either get shanked in there and unalived by the Aryan Brotherhood, or mm, he might not even go. He might get a retrial and a bond. He might get a retrial. But with the 35, with good behavior and everything, I'm not sure what's going on in Texas, but by him being so young, things change over about 10 years, 15 years sometime. They start looking. I don't know the details of the Texas. Uh, I don't know the details of the Texas law. So I don't know how they go. I doubt if he'll do the whole 35, but this is a highly racial, racist, a lot of racism. So he'll be lucky to get out of there. Like I said, I seen a video today of somebody burning a cross downtown Chicago. Look it up. First time offense. I don't know about Texas. So I can't say, I don't know about the Texas justice system. In Illinois, he might could get a break some kind of way. Being a kid, I don't really know. Texas, from what I understand, is brutal. From what I understand, Texas is brutal. Uh, it's really highly racially charged. He had his lawyer was never. Don't ever not speak for yourself. no matter how it goes. Get your ass on stand. For something like this, get on the stand. I'm putting him on the stand. The lawyer probably say he don't want to break down. Listen, he looking at 35 years. How much worse could it get? Why you didn't put him on the stand? Why you didn't let them feel his pain? Let him break down. Let him cry. Let him show. Let him show. Let him show he's a human being. He didn't even. He didn't even. He dehumanized him by not putting him on the stand. Let the other family see a human being. You understand? If it was the other way around, they would have brought up more. They would have made the black dude look more aggressive, and they would have made the white dude look like it would have made it look like self defense. But it just all depends on how it would have happened. If it would have happened exactly like that, and it's a white dude sit down and it's four black dudes, they definitely would have said he was in danger. They kind of you don't hear much about that. I don't think the guy that got unalive was necessarily there by himself. I don't think. When I find out more exact details, I'll let y'all know. But for sure, uh, I don't see no reason to shank him. No matter what. I don't see where your life was in danger. I don't think it was possible in that environment, in that tent with the maybe a beat up a little bit or something. But uh there's no way they could have took his life. His life was not in danger. So that's the problem. Like, bro, you in a tent full of people at a track meet. Your life is not in danger. So even if it was the other way around, he would have had to prove his life was in danger, which would have been difficult. So I can't say for sure if it was the other way around, he would have walked because you got to prove your life is in danger, and I don't think neither one of them would have been able to do that. I don't think the white dude would have been able to prove his life was in danger based on the setting. You know, the setting. You know what I'm saying? The setting. You in a tent, it's a track meet. Your life not really in danger like right there. Nobody gonna unalive you right there. And even if they jump on you, it ain't gonna be that bad because there's too many people in there. Calvin, if it's 4-1, they still not. They just gonna punch him a little bit. They can only. What you think, Calvin? How bad would they been able to beat him up in that tent at a track meet? It would have just been some boop 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 boop. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong, because I do want to. You see what I'm saying? Like if I'm him I can't see how they would beat me up that bad in that circumstance. That wouldn't have been that bad. They might have sucked me up some, but I don't think they would have just, you know, what y'all think? I don't see how they would have beat me up that bad at a track meet. It's just not gonna happen. It's gonna be some punches or whatever. They might punch me like bah 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 bah, but they not gonna really hurt me. Not in there, not in no track meet. I just don't believe they would have had any plans to like seriously hurt him at that track meet. The stabbing, once you pull a knife out, it ain't no accident. Nah, uh, nah, Jojo. I go by real street, like being outside, being a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid. Nah, I went to a Lutheran school. I went to track meets and all that. They was not gonna hurt him at no track meet. They wasn't gonna hurt him that bad. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they would have hurt him that bad in that environment. And then he don't be looking right. Like he look like he got anger issues. I know I'm black. I'm supposed to overlook it, but he nobody coached him at all. Cause look at this picture. This is not a good picture. You know what I'm saying? This picture. This is not. This is you know what I'm saying. So he had no training or nothing. What y'all think about this picture? It's like, bruh, I don't know. Whenever it was took, he should never had no pictures like this at this particular time. Hey, at this particular time, he don't need no pictures like that. But every picture of him is to me is kind of I don't know. I don't know, man. This one ain't too bad. He look a little bewildered. He look a little. I don't know who he had, but I'm not buying you fear for your life. Not in no tent at no track meet. I ran cross country. I don't think it would have been exposed. They didn't let him get on the stand. You think it's self defense? Uh, I could see it. I could see it as self defense. You jumping me, I got the thing, and I just poke you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking, but You can't paint that picture though. You can't paint that picture because he said, touch me and see what happens. That don't go together. If I say, if I'm somewhere and y'all and you push up on me, you playing, and I say to you, touch me and see what happens. I'm finna be aggressive. I think you can defend yourself and all that, but you gotta. When he said, "Touch me and see what happens," if it's my son and we discussing this, and he said, "Yo, daddy, they was around me, they was doing this and that," they said, "Touch me and see what happened." I'm saying, why you just didn't move and leave? You should have left then. I don't know how you raise your children, but in all honesty, I'm telling my son, why you didn't leave? If you could talk, you could walk. Yeah, he should have handled it differently. He should have left. Get away from people that, don't like you. Move around. Like, move around. You know what I don't want to do? I don't want to be phony, and I don't want to be on the side based on race, and I don't want to say something that I wouldn't say to my own children. Because I'm a firm believer to make somebody go out their way before you hurt them. I'm a firm believer in that. If you come up on me, even if I got a weapon, even if I got a pistol, and you talking crazy, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to make you work real hard to get hurt so I could beat this. Now, he a kid, he ain't thinking like that. But still, in terms of beating the case, if I'm a lawyer and I'm defending him, I'm going to really try to defend him. But as a good lawyer, and I really would be a good lawyer, it was really one of my callings. Touch me and see what happened would be my biggest problem. That would be my problem. That would be the whole problem of my case right there. If I had this case and he was my client, and they got a murder case and they say, touch me and see what happened, that's that's gonna be hard. And so he say, somebody is threatening me, I would say, touch me and see what happens. Bullies will be bullies. They like to push people around. Talking crazy is a horse of another color. I mean, I can't say whether he got the right or whatever that. I'm talking strictly in the courtroom, right? As an attorney in the courtroom, no matter what, that statement is gonna be it's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem. He probably was the only black in the courtroom. You say if somebody try to lay hands on me, I'm teaching my son. to get away from the bully. Make them work hard for you to hurt them. Don't hurt them. Don't let it be easy. Like me. If one of y'all out there don't like me, you're going to have to work really hard. You're going to have to really work hard because I'm not crashing out like that. But in terms of a case, exactly, exactamundo. If you could say, touch me and see what happens, you could go. You know, they got a saying, pick your battles. It's definitely premeditated. If I tell you, touch me and see what happens, I'm saying, touch me and I'm going to do something to you. That's what that means. In the hood, in the streets, with the gangsters, when they say that they're going to grip up. Listen, that don't sound like a grip up. That's a grip up. There's cases where there's a grip up. Go with that. Go ahead, play with me. Go ahead, play with me. That's a grip up. That's a grip up. That's a grip up saying, go ahead and see what happened to you. That's it. I mean, that's how I can see myself saying it. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I'm open for some input. You should be able to tell somebody that, and then when you do something to them, you go into prison. You go into prison. You go into prison. If that exact same situation and you can't show no serious deadly force on their behalf, Sir Drop, and you said that, and then you had deadly force, you go into prison. You know what I'm saying? See, for the young people watching me, listen, young people, listen to me. Young brothers, especially young black men, listen to me. That right and wrong stuff, that ain't real. Listen, y'all, young black men, listen to me. Right and wrong, you can't function like that. That's not real. You gotta function how it is. Right and wrong is how it should be. To the young black men watching me, how it should be is irrelevant, baby boy. You gotta function how it is. Self-defense and don't apply when you say touch me and see what happens. You wipe that out. You wipe that out. You are part of the confrontation. You with it. If I say touch me and see what happens, I'm with it. And then I pull out a shank and poke you. You know, it's not funny, but come on now. Come on. I'm at a track meet. Some dudes come to bully me. I say, touch me and see what happens. They get aggressive and I poke them. I'm going to prison. No, they shouldn't have bullied me, for sure. What that got to do with the cost of tea in China? No, they should. Yeah, they shouldn't have bullied me. But I can't say they hit me and I blanked out. I can't say that. See, listen, I could beat the case if I could show you blanked out. So if I could show you got scared, right? Y'all just tell me. I'm willing to accept. I want y'all to tell me. It was wide open. I want y'all to really bring it because this make this more interesting. Now, just tell me if I'm right or wrong. If you pull up on me, you start touching me, and I blank out, I could blank out. Now, if I say touch me and see what happened, can I say I blanked out? Put it in the chat. Let me know if it's a confrontation and I say touch me and see what happened. Can I use the defense of blanking out? Because I don't think you can use that defense. I can't. I didn't blank out. I didn't blank out. I just took away. I just took away blanking out. You know what I'm saying? Am I right or am I crazy? So now my lawyer, what can he do? He can't say, oh, Pharaoh was scared because I said I wasn't scared. I said, touch me and see. That's not scared. I just took away the fact I was scared. Didn't it? So now I can't say, oh, I was scared. I was terrified. Bro, you weren't terrified. You said if they, you know what I'm saying? Or am I tripping? White out, black out, red out, whatever out. My point, though, Johnny, is as a lawyer, and I'm trying to defend him, I need him to blank out. I need him to say I was scared. They ran up on me. They was trying to beat me up. And next thing I know, I had poked them. Cool. But if you said, touch me and see, touch me and see, you kind of took away my defense. That's premeditated. Basically, bro, that's premeditated. Dumb words right there. That's what hung him. That's what he said. Touch me and see what happens. To me. Because I'm just trying to be honest. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to think of the race. Or I'm just really trying to just think of the case in court. Because when you go to court, don't nothing matter but what's presented in court and how it looks to the jury. All that other stuff is conjecture, I think they call it. You can be fronting and say, touch me and see what happens and still be scared. But you can't prove you were scared when you said that. You make it possible for people to say you're not scared because they can't read your mind. They can only read your words. And everybody's going to say, nobody's going to say you were scared. It is a threat. And nobody going to say you scared. I mean, if I say, touch me and see what happened, it just don't sound scared. It totally blew away his self-defense. It's like, bruh. That's why I think there was some type of mental stress or something. I don't think he was in his right mind. I think he was been going through a lot. That's how I look at it. Like they've been bullying him around or something, and he was up to here. He was up to here. When he packed the knife at the crib, when he be at the crib, he like, I wish they would. I wish they would today. I'm not going today. I believe he went in there and sat down like this. Yeah. I hate to say that. I believe he went in there. They said he was raining and he went in there, but I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He might not, right? He might have always had the knife, because a lot of times people carry knives. I got a knife I carry to cut stuff and stuff like that, or in case you run into a crazy person, you can poke them and get them off of you. So I can't say 100% that he had the knife for that, but I could say 100% when he said, touch me and see what happened, he was thinking about that knife. Touch me and see what happened mean I'm going to poke you. If you got a knife, if you got a gun, it mean I'm going to shoot you. To me, that's what that means. Because what going to happen? See, because that's where he messed himself up. Because you letting the jury know that something could happen, right? Touch me and something could happen to you. Okay, what is the something? Okay, we seek the something. See, that's where the case is done. That's where the case is done. I was a skinny kid, and the reason I didn't have a bully, the way I beat the bullies was with my brain. I beat the bullies by being unpredictable. I beat the bullies by you don't know when I'm finna get the get back. And when they don't know when they're gonna get the get back, they don't really want to mess with you because they feel you crazy. So with me, I didn't get bullied because play with me, I got all the time in the world, and this gonna be a surprise. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I'm not crashing out like that. So it looked like he was fed up. It looked like he was fed up. His whole demeanor seems to be after a mental situation, even like a year later. I don't know. The whole scene sounds like he was just fed up. The way they say that he didn't know, they say he didn't know Austin. I don't necessarily believe that. I don't, they say he didn't know, they didn't know each other. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I also want to know, is there a girl in that area? See, the lawyer didn't do a good. Is there a girl in that area that Carmelo like? Because in those areas, even though you live over there, you live over there, it's still small. It's still a girl you like. You know what I'm saying? You said, did they go to the same school? They say you didn't know 'em. It's a track meet, and a track meet people come from all different schools. Many times kids will not tell their parents they being bullied. Yep. Why would they touch him if he said touch me and see what happened? Because the reason they would touch him is because Austin was also crazy. And Austin had got all out of his body. And Austin most likely been bullying a whole bunch of people and got sloppy as a bully. because the coach said he didn't really want him there. He kicked him off of one team and didn't want him there. And Austin talked him into being there to help. But the coach said he wasn't even supposed to be there. So a lot of times when you're a bully, you get sloppy. I suspect he was a out of control bully because he was big, and everywhere he went, he had his twin brother. So it's always two of them. So psychologically, I'm not saying this is a fact, but psychologically, I think that Austin was taking advantage of having a twin brother. That's what I think. And he was bullying a lot of people. He was a bully. He definitely was a bully because why would you go over there and bother him? He's sitting over there and tell him to leave. Who is you? You're not no administrator or nothing. And that's where, as a legal lawyer, that's where I'm hitting him. I'm suing. I'm suing for 20 million. I'm suing. Because this was negligent on the part of the school. You control your student. The coach said he wasn't supposed to be there, but you let him be there. Okay, you liable then. You're liable for your students. And y'all liable for my son at this school event. Y'all responsible for my son's safety. So if you're telling me some students ran up on my son and didn't no teachers didn't see it, y'all didn't have no adults in there watching them, right? Because if I'm at a school event and I'm sitting here and four boys run up on me, ain't teachers supposed to see that? So what? No coaches, no teachers, nothing watching, nothing? They just in there doing whatever they want to do. Why was they so comfortable running up on them? They knew that there was no supervision. There was no supervision. I'm suing. I'm suing. I'm winning. Then I'm getting a better lawyer and my son coming home. Because if they sue, they're going to win. And when they win, that's going to be a reason to have a retrial based on the new evidence from the lawsuit, and he'll come home. He'll come home. If you know the mother or know any connect, chop this up and send it to him. Tell him Big Pharaoh said no problem. Sue. They're going to win the lawsuit hands down. I'll win the lawsuit. I win that lawsuit easy. Hey, check it out. Y'all let me show you how I win the lawsuit. We get talking about like, they say, okay, but your client have a knife. And how do you get it in here? That seems like a breach of security. Right? How he got a knife in there? That's the school fault that he in there with a knife. Listen, whose fault is it that he in there with all them kids with a knife? Whose fault is it? It's your event. He at your event with a knife. Who's liable for him being in there with the knife? I'm just saying. I'm a beast with the whole knowledge. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They should have had this lawsuit before the trial happened. The lawsuit should have already been going on. I'm just saying, how you get a knife in y'all? How you get a knife in y'all thing? Okay, that's y'all fault he got stabbed in. I'm just saying, a judge gonna say he's 100% correct. What is actually y'all? What's y'all protocol on safety? He gonna tell the school, let's see your protocol on safety. Oh, well, Mr. Ellerton has a point here. You know what I'm saying? He ain't no damn hero. poking nobody in high school. He ain't no crash dummy, ain't no hero. That's you brothers that try to make everything black versus white. Nah, he ain't no hero. He ain't no damn hero because he poked somebody like that. Come on, man. He cannot join the red, black, and green army for poking somebody at no track meet. Oh, sorry. That's it. Come on, man. Ah, yeah. I never really jumped into the race. Black folk. I'm just looking at the case straight up. He not no hero because he snitched on himself. You know what I'm saying? So he not built like that. Because why would you say touch me again and see what happened? Then commit the crime. Bruh. You know what I'm saying? And I was premeditated. You'll let him be the general of your army will get wiped out. your army, your army would be dumb, 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 dumb. If that's your army, it's a race thing because the boys definitely was bullying him because he was black. Ain't no doubt about that. Why wasn't he bullying some white kid? No, he was. They was. Them little boys definitely was race hating on him because he was black. Ain't no doubt. Ain't no doubt it was racism. Out of all the people in there, you go tell a black one to get out. That's racism. It's going to be looked at as racism. It's going to be considered racism. Unless they can prove it wasn't no white people in there didn't belong in there, and they said it was raining hard. So there was a bunch of people in there that wasn't part of that. Come on. So he just the only one in a big rainstorm to go under the tent. It's a super rainstorm. That's why the track meet is on froze. Why they wasn't track meeting? Because of the rainstorm. So somebody come in your tent in the rainstorm. You such a hater. You tell them to go back out in the rain. And it's rain. You got no hospitality. See what I'm saying? God don't like ugly though. God don't like ugly. At the end of the day, Karmelo made a mistake. And at the beginning of the day, Austin made a mistake too now. We can't say things happen bad for you because you made a mistake. Things happen bad for Austin because Austin made a mistake too. Austin made a mistake. Let's just be right down the middle. Austin made a mistake too. What is wrong with you? Once again, if that's my son and he lived, I said, why'd you run up on dude sloppy like that? And why didn't you mind your own damn business? You ain't nobody daddy, and you don't run that school, and you have no official title at that school to tell another kid nothing. You's a little ass boy. At what point can a little boy tell a little boy what to do? What's your credentials? What is Austin credentials to tell somebody what to do? He's out of order. He's out of order. Order in the court. Order in the court. He's out of order, okay? He out of ordered himself out of a life. At the end of the day, Austin made the biggest mistake, as you can tell by the results. If you look at the results, I could tell you who made the biggest mistake. Austin. Obviously. He made a boo-boo. Because you judge a mistake by the results. He unalive. He done F8 and FO'd. So we ain't going to just act like Karmelo made mistakes. Austin made the biggest mistake. He F-A to F-O. In the hood, we say you ramped up on the wrong one. You know what I'm saying? You ramped up, you know what I'm saying? That's that Luciferian stuff. That's what they be calling the devil. The devil told him, okay, go pick with him. Am I lying? Y'all ever been in trouble when something in your ear tell you to do something, you get in trouble? Whatever's in your ear knew that was going to happen. So whatever told Austin, hey, because something made him pay attention to him. He got sent off by a negative spirit, told him, look, go tell him to get out of here. Yeah, go tell him. Go tell him to get out of here. I'm going to go tell him to get out of here. And then he ended up getting out of the whole world. At the end of the day, he the one lost. Dude gonna be back out living his life. He not. He and his brothers got it, you know what I'm saying? They probably was bullying him. And a lot of times when you go to them schools with them Europeans, a whole bunch of them be bullying you. And they all know each other, right? So like if Austin on the football team, other football players would be bullying you too. That make your whole experience. You understand? Seriously. You'd be surrounded by racism. They try to make you miserable. They try to do something to you and all the rest of them laugh. That's what they try to do. I know. I went to a Lutheran school. I know. I know for sure. You know what I'm saying? But dude didn't necessarily have the knife. Like, say, I got a knife on me, but I don't got this to poke nobody. I got it in case somebody try to do something to me, but I'm not going outside like, yeah, somebody gonna do something to me. No, I don't got it like that. I don't got it with violence on my mind like that. You know what I'm saying? So just because I got the knife don't mean, it don't mean that I'm dealing with the violence like that. You understand? So just because he had a knife, that doesn't mean that he was intentionally, on something. You know what I'm saying? Like this don't mean I'm on nothing because I got this knife. I be having rope. I be having stuff I gotta cut. I be opening boxes when I get my packages. See what I'm saying? And when I go outside, I take it because a crazy man might come up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might come up talking crazy, or somebody might see my gray hair. It's like I'm gonna do this to this old man. I gotta defend myself. I don't have this to be no aggressor or hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? I got this to make sure I get back in. You know what I'm saying? So I don't gotta have no pow pow bang bang on me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have I don't want to have the pow pow because sometimes I'm not really going that far. I might be just going around the corner or something. But this gets used mostly for boxes and shit. Facts. This mostly gets used for stuff like this. We fight not against flesh and blood, but the spiritual wickedness that reside in high and low places. Some people in this world is protected because they are here to fulfill higher missions. Karmelo was, I don't know. I don't really fight in high or low places. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't do religious jargon. You know what I'm saying? But I feel you though. Selah, amen, hallelujah. You know what I mean? He probably was fed up. Psychologically, told you the lawyer side, the psychological side, if he said, touch me and find out, that sound fed up. You know, that sound like he's already something's wrong already. When you go to school, I don't know if y'all know, when you go to school and you're a young boy and you got an enemy, that enemy stays in your head. I don't know if people know that, but when you go to school and you're a young boy, if I go to school, I'm a young boy, and you my enemy, and you kind of bothering me. What a lot of people don't know, that stay in my head. I be thinking about you when I go home. I be thinking about you in the morning. I be thinking about you all the time when you bothering me. People don't understand that. And when I come to school, I come to school with that, oh, Reggie, I gotta go and deal with Reggie. You understand? That's what, when you bothering somebody, it's deeper than people think. It's real dangerous because the person you bothering becomes obsessed with you too. How you stop a bully from taking your lunch money every day? Well, I didn't never have no bullies. That's a good question. I didn't have no bullies because I was the oldest. Like when I was 9, my sister was 10, right? So my mother had me trained to protect my sister. So I'm going to school on dummy anyway to protect my sister. So anybody that's in security mode to protect their sister, you already know what's gonna happen if you mess with me, right? So you're not taking no lunch. Take what? You're not taking no lunch. Because I believed if I couldn't beat you straight up, I could sneak up behind you, whatever it takes to get the job done. So that's why, so I was skinny. So one reason people didn't mess with me, because it's whatever I gotta do to get this through to you. So if I gotta be sneaky for you to know, leave him alone, that's what we're gonna do. At the end of the day, the message is, hey, you know what I'm saying? You the FA the FO. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I grew up. I grew up with, like, if I couldn't get you head up, I just get your head. you know, I'm just saying, I just hit your head up. You know what I'm saying? Anyway it go, you gonna get the message. Leave me alone, cause you gonna lose. Cause I got the Hill Street Blues. Yeah, so I don't know. Nobody never took nothing from me. I don't know. I ain't never had no bullies. You know what I'm saying? My motto when I went to high school, leave me alone. You too big, you too strong, you're gonna get hurt. That's why I used to tell the strong boys, hey man, stop playing me, you too strong, you're gonna get hurt. That was my motto. You too strong, leave me alone. You too big and you too strong, you're gonna get hurt. You gonna get hurt. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of times the parents are not experts when it comes to law and stuff like that. They might not know what to do. Their finances might be funny. And when you deal with the law funny acting if you don't got the money. Ain't nobody gonna represent you if you ain't got a certain amount of bread. Period. You ain't gonna get no representation if you ain't got the bread. I ain't had no bullies. But when I grew up in a neighborhood where we all grew up together. So none of my friends, I was born in 1958, so we didn't have bullies. Black people didn't have bullies. That's a white thing. That's not a black culture, especially I'm born in 58 in the 60s, 70s. Black People never had bullies. That's something we used to see on TV, like on Leave It to Beaver or something. Traditionally, black people don't got bullies. Am I lying? Somebody come tell them. Black people don't have bullies. Bullies is not. Black people had another word that bullies were scared of. You know what? You know what bullies? You know the word black people had that made everybody shake. That's in the black community. Cousins trump bullies. Because in the black community, we grow up, like, I'll get my cousins to come up here. Hey, look. Hey, Mary. What was the ultimate scary? What was the threat? How we used to threaten when kids outnumber us? What we used to threaten people with, Mary? Our cousins. Because you know your cousins come by to visit. You know what I'm saying? And your cousins with it. So that's what we used to threaten if it was something we couldn't handle. Keep playing, man. I have my cousins come up here. And they'd be like, no, I don't want no problem with your cousins. I bet you don't. Yeah, we had extended family. Yeah. And then we had daddies. We had crazy daddies too. My daddy was crazy. Yeah, my daddy was crazy. My daddy gonna call. My daddy. You know what I'm saying? We weren't like these new kids. I go straight on, Daddy, this boy at school keep bothering me. What's his name? Jared. Tell Jared he better leave you alone. Put my foot in his ass. I'm gonna come up there. Tell Jared your daddy said he gonna come there, put his foot in his ass. You know what I'm saying? I go back and tell my daddy say you keep playing with me, he gonna put his foot in your ass. And my daddy gonna beat up your daddy. And then my cousin them gonna beat up your daddy and your uncle and your mama. You know? And then we start squabbling. And one thing about a fight is when you fight somebody and you're little and you fight and they always feel lucky they won. So even if they win, they really don't want to do it again because they might not, because you almost had them one time. So usually a fight makes people leave you alone. I didn't have no siblings either. I was the oldest. But like I said, I was born in 1958, so we didn't. Only little boys used to fight. So fights is little boy stuff. We didn't have, older. We didn't. We was more mature, so we didn't really do no lot of fighting and stuff. We was a very. Our parents was from Alabama, Mississippi. We was a very friendly group of blacks. Blacks didn't really get weirded out like that until like the 90s, y'all 90s, when y'all start fighting at Chuck E. Cheese and all that. That's a different generation than my generation. Foundational Black Americans, we didn't, back in the late 50s, 60s, 70s, we didn't really fight like that. Only little kids used to fight when I grew up. My last fight was probably fifth grade, probably. We didn't fight in high school. That was like something wrong with you. That's like something's wrong with you. You that old and you fighting like what? Because what we used to do is we didn't hang with people we didn't like. If I didn't like you, you hang with Charles and them. I hang with this one and this one. So we never used to be around somebody we didn't like. We was broken up into groups. These five like each other, they hang out. These five like each other, they hang out. These five like each other, they hang out. When we see each other, we be cordial, but you would only hang with the ones you got along with. We didn't hang out with somebody we didn't too much what our grandparents used to say, they used to call it, we don't too much care for. You didn't hang out like this new group, always around somebody you don't care for. Seems weird to me. And my group, if you wasn't my cup of tea, I never would be around you. Good to see you, OG. And my group, we never just went around nobody we didn't care for. So this is a situation where, uh, for sure, Carmelo was fed up. There was something there. He was fed up. And like I said, the parents made a mistake. Stop, black people, stop taking your kids in these white areas where you're grown, but your kids got to be subjected to all this doggone racism. Stop. Stop trying to be like, you want a nicer house. You want to live out in the suburbs. Do you think the whiter schools is better? No, they not. Fix your own schools. And this is how a lot of white Americans look. Why y'all coming over here? Go fix your own stuff. We fixing ours, fix yours. I don't blame them. I don't blame white Americans for not wanting black Americans living around them. Because it's like you don't want to fix your own stuff and they fixing their stuff and they not fixing it for you. They're like, you some grown people. Why y'all don't go fix your own community? I agree with them. Why you always want to move out there with them? And why you taking your kids and subjecting them to that? I got lucky. Of course, the public schools was getting worse. So when I got out of sixth grade, my mother and father thought it was a good idea. So this is done in innocence. So they send me to a Lutheran seventh and eighth grade, which could have failed tremendously. Right? Because I'm in seventh grade and the eighth grade is like greasers, like from Happy Days. They racist, a couple of them. So that could have went horrible. The only reason when my parents sent me to a Lutheran seventh grade, it didn't go bad because I was already outside at the park. I was already shooting dice. I was already smoking cigarettes. I was already smoking reefer. I was already all that. I was already too much for some white dude Happy Days or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't scary enough. You understand? So when my parents sent me to seventh grade and it was white dudes there in eighth grade, I was in the black community and we had to deal with black gang members that's in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So you only in the eighth grade. We got to deal with Harold Vassell, Joker, Fat Sam, Peter Rabbit, right? So the older black boys were scary. So when I got around the older white dudes, I'm like, you're not scary. See, when I grew up, the police wasn't scary. Older white dudes wasn't scary. The older gang members were scary. Okay? And so when I come out the hood and I'm in seventh grade, you eighth grade, you some white dude, I'm looking at you like, you ain't Fat Sam, you ain't Peter Rabbit, you ain't nobody. Like, you're not scary. You know? Shut up talking to me. You're not scary. Boy, I've been outside. I'm coming from outside. I ain't no Negro. I'm an Nigga. I'm not no Negro. Boy, you got me effed up. So they wasn't scary. So I had to drill on a couple of eighth graders. You know? I had to roll on a couple of them. Because I'm in the seventh grade and they playing. But I don't believe you. You need more people. But if I wouldn't have been outside shooting dice and wild on the bike and wild on the hood, which was a nice neighborhood, but it's still kind of wild out there, That could have went bad. What if I would have been a corny, scary little boy and my parents sent me there? They would have ran over me. What if I was the quiet, nice Michael Stewart, right? What if I was a good Michael Stewart, seventh grader with these eighth grade boys? They would have bullied me. Thank God I was still gambling with cigarettes in my socks and all that. Thank God I was with the BS. You know what I'm saying? Or they would have ran over me. So it's like, stop sending your kids. That could have failed. That could have failed. They could have them kids could have dominated me. They could have ruined my personality, my strength, my belief in myself. They could have just took all my manhood in seventh grade. You understand? But my parents was right. They sent us where the education in the black community started going down by 72, 70, 71, 72. And they seen that because the best education in the black community was from the late 50s through the 60s. By the time you get to the 70s, there was some good schools, but the schools began to just kind of fall. And the reason that is because in the 60s, those teachers was from the South. So we had them older teachers. And when them older teachers retired and they got the younger teachers, they wasn't good as Miss Woods and them, the teachers from Alabama and Mississippi. No, it wasn't drugs. Drugs didn't do it. No, drugs didn't have nothing to do with it. Yeah, drugs didn't have nothing to do with it. The teachers. When you change generations, right, things change. This generation raised this way. Now, sometime the next generation start trying to do new age nonsense that don't work. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the old teachers taught the old strict way. Then the new teachers start listening to white America on TV and parents. Don't spank your kids. Da, 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 da. And look at the results. They start trying to be new and improved. They should have stuck with what worked. You know what I mean? You feel me? They should have stuck with what worked. So they start. So I understand why they sent me there. Then I had to go to the high school. But then also too, the unity was stronger, and I still lived in a black community. So when I lived in a black community and then go to an all white school, I don't feel hopeless because I could bring my friends from the black community. But in Carmelo's case, he lived in a white community and got to go to a white school. So there is no blacks for him to go back and get no strength from. That was a mistake. He didn't have none of his own culture to go and get some strength. You see, you go to LA, Mexicans might go to a school with whites, but they're going to go back to that Mexican neighborhood and they're going to have that La Raza, you know what I'm saying, strength. But if you leave there and go to a house like that, you don't got no strength. You know what I'm saying? No, 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 not in Chicago. No, no, that's not true. Not in Chicago. Chicago's not integrated. Chicago's segregated still today. No, it wasn't the school was integrating. I give you an example. This is an educational example. When I started going to school, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, what we got? Arithmetic, right? Fifth grade, you got what? Math. Math, arithmetic was better. Arithmetic, reading, writing, arithmetic was better. When they start going into math, it's less learning. They trying to reinvent the wheel, and then they mess it up. You've already got it. It already works. You know what I'm saying? So they went from arithmetic to math. And look, you see what I'm saying? That's the best example. They went from all of a sudden, don't spank your kids. Well, kids that get spankings don't get spankings. Listen, they say don't spank your kids. Kids that get spankings don't get spankings. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, that might be your computer because it's doing good over here. Yeah, that's you. Right? So kids that get spankings don't get spankings. What I mean by that? By the time we got spankings as little kids, by the time we in like the fifth grade, we ain't getting no spankings no more. Spankings was for little kids. By the time we get in the fifth grade, now we get punishment. Now mama like put that bike up and don't get it back out till I tell you, stuff like that. She started making you stay in the house so you can't go outside and play. They wasn't spanking no fifth or sixth grades in high school and junior high schools. By then, they done already taught you the basics. Back in those days, they teach you the basics early. You learn how to be a good kid in first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. That's when they do the parenting. And when you do that parenting like that, it sticks. They stay like that. Facts. Real talk. So, this moving out to these neighborhoods and taking your children, you got to consider racism. You got to consider you going to work where you're going to face a light, sneaky racism. But your children are going to experience direct, crucial racism. And you have to check to make sure your children ain't getting bullied. And so, unfortunately, now he looking at 35 years in prison. 35 years in prison for mistakes he made. He made. Okay? You can't always respond to somebody else being wrong. This is what you have to teach your children, y'all. Yeah, they wrong. But you don't respond to somebody being wrong and ruin your own life. And that's what he did. They might have been wrong, but he should have been taught you can't respond. You know what I'm saying? Much respect to the brethren. D.W. Joseph, much love, brother. Support the channel. Y'all support the channel. Hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of that. Support the channel. He he just I just feel sorry for him. I feel like he was his mother got and his parents had him in the wrong environment. That wasn't an environment for him. It's the wrong environment. I don't believe that black youth are qualified to be in a mixed neighborhood really until I would say high school. I would say let them grow up in a black community. Do whatever you got to do, tutoring or whatever, to make sure they still do good, and don't move them in an environment that could be hostile until they in high school. He's for sure he's been moved way too early. Even though he was in high school, he's been moved way too early. And even if he moved out there in high school, he wasn't some kind of way. He wasn't around a serious black community. And nothing. There's no education that's going to trump cultural identity and culture. Nothing. And if you're raising black children, you have to train them to deal with racism. This is a part of our life. We live in a country and in a world that is full of racism. And racism is used for economical advantages. So you could be discriminated against, so you can't get this job, so you can't get this car, get that. So racism is inwoven into this country because also it's inferiority complex. And a lot of people that's not black, they feel inferior around you. And I don't know why black parents don't teach that. Like you sending your children around somebody that feels inferior. This is just the truth. Then nobody's gonna like you when they feel inferior. You ever been in a situation where a white person you try to figure out why they don't like you? Like what? It don't make sense to you. You like I ain't did nothing to you. You don't like me because of the color of my skin. No, it's more than that. It's an inferiority complex. Austin felt inferior. That's why he was acting like that. You think I'm lying? Go up to a school, a mixed school, and look at the white girls and watch how they be looking at the black boys. Or look at the white boys, see how they be looking at the black girls. The difference is the boys are the aggressors, so the white boys aren't that don't they don't be aggressive like they supposed to towards the black girls. But the black boys still be aggressive to any girl. So they don't like that. I like when I went to a Lutheran school, the white girls was all over me. It's just I didn't really like them because I didn't know nothing about mixed races like that. And I didn't think a lot of them was as cute as the black ones. Not because of their race, but I think because of their body shape, probably because of their shape. You know what I'm saying? Because I did have some white girls that liked me. I had one girl, she would bring me donuts every morning, and she wanted me to come visit. She wanted me to, but she lived in a white area called on Longwood up by Beverly, and I just knew it wasn't going to be safe to go see her. You know what I'm saying? Even in high school, I knew you can't be going over in that neighborhood seeing this girl. I knew that way back then. So now let's say some of them white girls like Carmelo. Yeah, he gonna have problems. If Austin got a girl he like, and he catch that girl looking at Carmelo or any other, she could be looking at another black man somewhere else. But that's gonna make him like not like no black men. And that's real common. I had a white friend, his name was Tom Klug. I wonder where Tom at. What up, Tom? And I went to his crib, he was having a party. And I was the only black dude. So it's like 4 or 5 white dudes and about 7 white girls and me. So we all upstairs doing something, chilling and talking, listening to music and smoking. And so something happened. Maybe I felt crowded. So I went downstairs. So when I went downstairs, I'm down around the kitchen area. Then one white girl came downstairs, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. And then one white dude, then 2, then 3, then 4. So then later I went upstairs. And then one white girl came, 2, 3. I started seeing the pattern. So the white girls was following me, and then the black dudes, the white dudes was following the white girls. And I seen that in high school. I said, wow, I was uncomfortable. Right? So I had took my father's car. He had a big old sedan DeVille. So one of the white dudes say, real talk, you can't make this up. One of the white dudes made a statement and say, he probably came over here in a Cadillac. That's what he said. So when everything was time to go, and I went to the front door, and they walked me to the front door, and they opened the door and seen that big ass sedan DeVille, the white dude said, wow! And he begged me to take him for a ride. The same one that was trying to insult me and try to say something racist and say he probably came over here in a Cadillac. When we went downstairs and I got ready to leave and he seen my father's car, he was the first one jumped in it. I drove him around a couple times and I went home. But I'm just looking at him. He started praising the car. You can't make this up. And I used to carry this stick with me. But I couldn't have been bullied because I'd be outside in the hood. So I couldn't be bullied because I was already kind of gangster, I think. I don't know whatever word to call it. I was too rough already. I was too black already. You know what I'm saying? I was too black. You know, I'm turning them black. They not turning me white. They talking like me. I ain't talking like them. See what I'm saying? See, if you young and you see your young kid, he gonna start saying Jolly G and all that like them. But if you let your kids mature, they gonna follow your kids instead of your kids following them. You have to let your children get mature enough in black culture before you send them outside in their culture. When you send them outside their culture, a lot of times you lose them. They grow up and they be Toms. They be Uncle Toms and sellouts. You ever see these black politicians don't want to do nothing for blacks, talk against black like Clarence Thomas and them kind? Those kind. You send them to the school and then they don't do nothing for your people. They hate their own people. They be so busy trying to prove they not black because they surrounded by white students. And they try to make them be not black. That's a fact. But me, I wasn't with that. I wasn't trying. When I went to Luther school, what you mean not? And when I went to Luther school, because I was so uniquely black when I was a freshman, the white dudes that had money and was hustling, they snatched me up and put me in the game. Yeah, while you, let me tell you something, while you kissing ass, they don't even like you. They like the black that's black. I'm telling you, they don't like the black that's a sellout. They don't like you. The more you sell out and try to change for them, the less they like you. They only like you when you're authentic black. That's who they like. They know all Ice Cube lyrics and all 50 Cent lyrics and stuff like that. That's what they know. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Tell me I'm lying. Nobody likes you black when you don't stand on your own culture. Everybody like you. So when I went to the school, so Luther Scruggs extremely black, the white dude pulled up to me with a brand new one of them small cars, an MG or something, or a little BMW or something. He said, "Hey guy, get in." I jumped in. He took me out to a house. We went in the house. It was all white dudes. But I was a freshman. I was already too gangster. So ain't nobody gonna pull it though. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, they was Jolly G, and that's how I end up being a hustler. Cause they start saying, "We got this for cheap. We got that for cheap. We got that for cheap." I'm real good at math. I can add. I'm real smart. Oh, take it, break it down, and get paid. So that's how I end up hustling because I could get something over here with the whites and bring it over here where the blacks at. And I got the best stuff in the hood. But I know for a fact, nobody likes you when you don't be yourself. A Chinese, when he meets you, he wants you to be black. He don't want you to pretend to be Chinese. Everybody only gonna love you when you're proud of your own people. Soon as you're not proud of your own people, nobody respects you. And so this poor baby got sent in a social situation that he wasn't ready for that. They didn't do him right. You know what I'm saying? He said, "I grew up with a white friend named Dennis. We got along, but his brother Jeffrey didn't like me. Jeffrey would give me a crazy look. I had a chance to go to Dennis' home. My parents said, hell no. I bet they did because they knew you was going to be in a situation where somebody will put something in your drink or whatever because just because your friend liked you, the other ones don't." Real talk. My friend Tom that I was talking about, one day we riding around in the car over there by where Marquette Park, where the race is at. He said, "Come on, let's go. I'm gonna meet my friend." So he took me to this white dude house with his friend. So he knocked on the door. So when he knocked on the door, the white dude came to the door and he only cracked it a little bit. Right? And he said, "What's up, Tom?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just came by to hang up." And the white dude told him, "No N-words over here." Yeah. So now, what if the dude wouldn't have told him no N words over here, would have let me in, would have unalived me? They are white. They could basically bully Tom. You better not say nothing. We know what your mama is. See what I'm saying? So they could have let me in there, and I never would have been seen again. But instead, the white dude cracked the door and told Tom that Nigger can't come in here. I learned right then that I got to stay away from Tom because Tom don't know where he can take me and where he can't take me, right? Because he not racist, but he don't know, you know what I'm saying? He don't know how racist it is. So he going to innocently get me unalive. So I stopped. I said, okay, I see where this is at. It ain't his fault, but he don't know where I can go and what I can't go. He almost took me somewhere I could have got jumped or anything. What if they would have let me in there? I learned right there. I think I was probably a junior. Or I probably was a junior. So I learned, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? So I feel sorry for this man 35 years. What is he, like 17? He nine? Oh, he's 19 now. He's 19, so 30 years, that's 50 years old. 50 years old. Whole childhood gone. I'm from Texas too, and back then, white youth thought they had the right to make you obey. Mellow situation is tragic. You never know how you react if scared enough. I taught white people and black bullies lessons. See? See? Thanks for that, Cassandra. That's real talk, sweetheart. I'm glad you shared that. Yeah, it's your youth aren't aware enough to put them in those racial situations. When you black, you got to be careful where you go. It's unfortunate, y'all, but it's the truth. When your children are black, they can't just go anywhere. You can't send them with another race of people that's gonna take them where they safe and your baby not. So now everybody get a drink. Everybody drink, they all right. Your baby drink, they drink her drink or his drink, and now he gotta go to the hospital with somebody to put something in that drink. You understand? So you can't be taking no chances like that. Cause you never know a person's heart. You got to protect your children. Yeah, you got to be careful where you go. Yes. And racism is deep, man. Racism is the type of hate that if you don't got that, you can't really comprehend nobody just hate you for no reason. And this how black people be getting in trouble. Because we don't got that kind of hate. Like black people don't hate white people like that. The way some white people hate us, there's if you find a black person that don't like a white person, it's because they been around white people that don't like them. But a white person will not like you and don't be around no blacks. It's like an they inherent hate. Seriously, like they just hate you. Ain't nobody black did nothing to them. It's just a natural hate. I don't know why. So it's an uneven situation. It's uneven. Like I'm telling you, they hate you. You just, you know, they look at you, they despise you, they jealous of you. I think it got a lot to do with your skin color and the man's penis size. That's what I think. And the girls, I think black people don't be aware like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't be aware. You thinking everything cool, but it's not. You can't be letting them give you no nothing to drink or nothing to eat. I'm telling you. This is why we have to build our own communities, have our own fun, have our own concerts, have our own stuff. This is why we got to get the young black man and get him more used to being around each other without gangbanging and stuff. The complaining about the young black man gangbanging ain't going to fix it. What's going to fix it is the older people having events and inviting them to the events. Me and my buddies we thinking about putting a group together like that. You understand? So we can acclimate young black men to get together and get along. So we thinking about putting together a bunch of black men that's with it, and then have parties for the younger blacks, but we patrol the party, right? So you come, we pat you down, all that. Okay. You come in here, getting out of line, we snatching you up. You know what I'm saying? And that could go any way you want to get it. If we put you out, you sure ain't coming back because we outside, because we going to get some people just like you. You understand? Because they can be dealt with. But you got to have the right people to deal with them. And so people talking about the young black man, that's a lie. I was in the Cook County jail for 3 months, and my job was to make sure they know what they supposed to know, and Shorty and them gonna know what they supposed to know, or it's gonna be a problem. And for sure, when they be in the jail, they be in the prison, they do what the OGs tell them to do. That's a fact. They are not out of control like they got y'all thinking. They're not out of control. The problem is that if the OGs try to get them in line, the feds will give you a RICO case because they'll say you the leader of the gang. So now we have to devise a way where it's already written and documented. We are not no leaders of the gang. We are helping young people. So don't come in here with no fake RICOs or none of that, because we ain't trying to get these youth to do no crime. We making you sit down. We making you come to the party and don't start no fight. That's what got to happen. We got to acclimate our young people to be around each other and learn how to behave. We got to teach the young black man how to behave. Because even the black man, 20s, 30s, and 40s don't know how to behave. I have grown men, 40, 50, trolling me. And all I be doing is over here talking. And a grown black, listen, my biggest enemy on social media be black men. Black men go out their way to disrupt my conversations, all that. And I be thinking, I wish we could know where you at so we could really like straighten you out, so we could really hem you up in the chair and really get it straight. Bro, you out of order. Well, we could deprogram you and reprogram you because you can't keep functioning like that. That ain't going to get it. And as one of these elders on this social media, I see it all the time, that you're too aggressive against another brother. You got too much hate for another brother. And the bad thing about it, you ain't even built like that. Soon as something happens, you're going to snitch and fold and all that. You're not that. So we got young brothers trying to be something they not, disrupting the community, doing crimes with each other and snitching, because you not no criminal, bro. You're not no criminal. So then that's causing us to take our kids out of white neighborhoods, trying to get away from the hood, and then putting our kids, making our kids victims of white supremacy. And that's exactly what he was. He was a victim. His mama took him out where she shouldn't have took him out there. He shouldn't have had to deal with all that. He shouldn't have had to deal with no white dudes running up on him like that. His mama ain't got nobody but blame but herself. His mama and whatever man is like took that boy out there and threw him to the wolves. That's what happened. So he had to try to fend for himself. Because mommy at work. I gotta go to school. And he didn't have that upbringing to deal with that. When I went to Lutheran school, I had the upbringing to deal with it. I knew how to deal with it. So racism couldn't really do nothing to me. because I wasn't trying to hear no talk like that. And I don't need no weapons or nothing. We used to fight. And one thing about it is if you will fight, you don't have to fight. That is a fact. The best way not to get in fights is to be willing to fight. If you're willing to fight for your respect, you're not gonna never have no fight because nobody gonna test you because everybody's not willing to fight. The will to fight makes peace. Facts. If you with it, your life be peaceful. As some of these brothers over here, they knuckle game up. They life be peaceful. We were forced busing into the white neighborhoods. I don't know. That's a lot of that. A lot of that information is false. So a lot of that information about busing and stuff is not 100% accurate like that. They kind of created this fake situation where blacks, that was kind of fake. A lot of that was kind of fake. Because this is what was going on. You got a white neighborhood right here, right? You got some blacks move right here. When the blacks move here, half of the whites move out. So now the school ain't got nobody in there. So now you busing kids in there because the whites ran. So what they tried to make it like you was going in their neighborhood, when actually it's a thing called white flight. And whites was running and leaving neighborhoods open, and then some whites is still there. So now when the blacks come, they beefing with the whites that couldn't fly. You understand? That's what you live. In the spot where you was at, they had already left. Because if the whites hadn't left, there wouldn't have been no seat for you in school. So, like where I live on the south side of Chicago, blacks start moving out there. These whites leave. Blacks move in. But these whites still there. So now these whites want to beef. But the only reason we there because the other whites left. And then when we stand up and fight them and we blink, them whites be gone too. So when I was growing up, the whites that we had to fight, their parents left too. So the beef is because white flight, because some got the money to leave, the other ones don't. Then the blacks come in, then they try to make it like you try to take over their neighborhood. You don't got no neighborhood, you're not already ran. You're not already ran. That's what was happening. They would run. The whites that was doing all right would run and leave the poor ones struggling. Then the blacks would move in, and then the poor ones struggling, mad because the blacks there told we taking their neighborhood. No, nobody took your neighborhood. You ran. Your people ran and left all these houses and schools. That's the fact. They built new houses, 116th and Aberdeen. Hold on. My parents bought the house. Hold on. Well, you know, I'm going to keep it a Billy. Watch this. You ain't going to get this nowhere. Watch this. I'm going to show you right there. Watch this. Everything I'm saying is facts. Okay? This is not, none of this is make believe. Oh, watch this. These is all facts. No make believe. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you pictures to prove what I'm saying. Watch this. Watch this. Because my neighborhood I live in was exactly that. Watch. I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show you live history. Live. Watch this. Live history. You ain't gonna get this nowhere. Okay. You see this house right here? My parents bought this house, brand new. All these houses, black people, it's 116th and Aberdeen. This is Maple Park. All these houses was brand new. And when you go to your left, all the way down to the 30s from the hundreds was all blacks, with these neighborhoods being. Now, if you look behind this house on your right, and you see them houses on the next street, they built a brand new school to your right. So you look to the right, then you like turn this way, and over there, well, it would be over there for y'all, I think, it's a school. Now, behind that school was some old homes, and that's where the whites lived. So when they built these new houses and the blacks bought these new houses, those whites behind that house to your right and across behind this house is a bunch of houses like this too. Then there's a park, and then across that park is a street. And if you go right, that's the old community. And whites lived over there. And those was the whites in older houses, and they were slowly moving. But the ones that was left there was mad. And it's the same from back there all the way down this way. So you had Finger High School. On this side of Finger High School, all the black from here is going there, but behind it is the old homes where the whites was at. So that's where the racial tension was at, because the whites was leaving, the blacks had bought the new houses. My daddy didn't buy that house to live around whites. There wasn't no white. These was all new houses. There was no white people there. This was empty land. These were brand new houses built from the ground up. There was no white people to flight. Facts. Black people moved in brand new homes because the Great Migration created a housing market. Right? Right? Don't listen to nobody. Listen to me. So there was brand new housing markets all around. So when they talk about white flight, they talk about old white houses here, new houses here, black people moving, and then these people running. But not running because they moving in their houses, running because they making new houses. Common sense, don't listen to what's over here. If you got a great migration, right? And you got a bunch of people coming from the South, do you got enough houses? If you got a great migration of millions of people coming north, right? Are you gonna have enough houses? Because there wouldn't have been nobody to live in them. Am I correct? If you got a bunch of more people coming, how you gonna have houses when there wasn't enough people here to have them houses? So if 10,000 people live here and 100,000 people coming, Ain't they got to build houses? Because we lived on 116th Street. Chicago used to only go to 43rd Street. How Chicago went from 43rd to 127th? All that got built. So if they build all them houses and black people moved in it, is there white flight? No, there was no white people to flight. How? Where you gonna get miscellaneous white people from? If a million blacks moved to Chicago, you telling me a million whites moved somewhere? There wasn't no million whites. The only way there would have been a lot of white people if a whole bunch of white people also. If a whole bunch of white people also moved, then yeah. But the Great Migration was predominantly black. So didn't nobody take no neighborhoods from them. There was no neighborhoods. This is a brand new neighborhood when we moved there. Brand new. The projects wasn't even projects. Parkway Garden was Parkway Gardens, where seniors live. Michelle Obama was born in Parkway Gardens. Parkway Gardens was nice. The buildings that they called projects, those was nice. They show them to you decades after they started to tear up. They never show you those new project buildings. We used to go to the project buildings. People's homes was laid out up in there. Wall-to-wall carpet, stereo, all that. They wait 50 years later and show you a project and make you think that's how it was. It wasn't like that. Them cribs was nice. Ask an older person what it was like in what they call the projects. They was nice. They wasn't called no projects. Henry Horner was Henry Horner. You know what I'm saying? You understand? So there was no white flight, okay? That's false. And then, Troy, until I verify your age, I can't talk to you. I can't verify your age. But I can tell you this, you ain't 68. You're not 68. Your knowledge is irrelevant to me. How old was I before you was born? You a baby, Troy. You a baby. You don't know what I'm talking about. Guarantee you a baby. What year was it by the time you turned 20? By the time you turned 20, it was probably 2000. You don't know nothing. You're a baby. One thing I know for sure when I come on YouTube, I'm in a league on my own. I already know you don't know. Boy, I'm finna be 69. I am DOG of YouTube. Facts. I was born in 1958. I'm the only person my age on YouTube running it like this. I got no competitors. I'm trying to tell them. And it wasn't called the project, it was called the Henry Horners. And it was nice, grass, trees, all that. There was no white flight. That's fake. How can you have a great migration and white flight? Make some sense. How can you have millions of black people come from Mississippi and Alabama and white people leaving? What white people? There wasn't no white people here to leave. So you're telling me millions of black people replaced millions of white people? Okay, where did those millions of white people go? That's all. That's all nonsense. Because they built up where the blacks was going to live, and on the other side of the freeway, they built up where the whites was going to live. They built them homes, and they built you homes. And they used the freeway to determine who's going to live on this side and who's going to live on that side. And they built them just as many homes as they built you. They end up with more because they had a bigger population. But they did not have to leave where you was at because they never lived where you was at. They lived on the other side of the railroad tracks or the other side of the freeway. And the freeway all across this country, the freeway divide the blacks from the whites. They never lived where you live at. That's all fake. There was no such thing as integration. That's fake. That's to make you feel inferior. There was no integration. Never existed. It's a fake word. They never got rid of segregation. Segregation's still here today. So how's the integration if you're still segregated? Make it make some sense. It's proof because Karmelo lived in a he lived under segregation. He lived in a white area. That's why all this happened, because his mama took him in a white area. And they like, why is you in the white area? Why aren't you blacks? Why y'all don't go to y'all own area? Which I kind of agree with whites on that. Why is you always crowding them? Why don't y'all let them live? They don't want to be bothered with you. They got the right not to want to live with you. Why don't you go live with your own stuff? Why you keep taking your kids around them? They got the right to want to live off to themselves. As long as they ain't coming in your area and taking nothing, then build your own area. And I agree with a lot of whites. Blacks don't want to build up where they at. They want to run to where somebody else is at. And you're a grown man just like a white man. If a white man can get together and save his money, and if a white man could build his own stuff, then a black man could build his own stuff. And if you can't build your own stuff, who gonna respect you? They don't want to keep putting stuff together for you to come and deal with it. And then if you don't build your own stuff, you ain't gonna take care of theirs. You're gonna bring their property value down. You're gonna bring everything down. Because you're gonna bring your ghetto ways over there where they at. Because if you ain't doing no work, you ain't gonna be respectful. The only man that take care of something is the man that worked for it. You're going to move out there. It's going to be a bunch of single mamas because you can't keep your woman like he keep his. You always broke up. So if a black family move out there, y'all going to break up and she going to be out there by herself with the kids. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Why did they have to live there? There was nowhere else for Karmelo and his mama to live. They got to go invade them people's space. When are y'all going to do for self? All this room in this country, and you won't do your own thing. Take that boy out there and subject him to extreme racism like that, and you act like your son and daughters, you sending them, and you act like you sending them to these predominantly white colleges and stuff, and you acting like they all right? You really believe they all right? Then you mad when the boy become a football star and marry a white woman. You sent them to a predominantly white school. They listen. If it wasn't about race, why it ain't? Why wasn't it another boy then? Why the news ain't got another boy in the story? Why is the black boy in the story? If it ain't about race, where's the white boy they was doing that to? I think that'd be a fair question. If it wasn't about race, show me the white person they was bullying like that. Show me the white story. See what I'm saying? You understand? This is something we've been had a problem. We won't build our own cars. We won't do nothing. We just keep using other people's stuff. There was a time, there was a time where black people started making these moves. You had Sean John, you had Cross Colors. You start having all these black clothing lines. What y'all did? Stop supporting the winter start. No, Master Clothes is better. I got on Louis, I got on Gucci. Master stuff is better. You made they brand names bigger than your own. It's always got to be they stuff. Always. And you wonder why you in this situation. You want his car. You want the Lamborghini for him. You don't want to make no Lamborghini. You want his. That's all you brag about is what you bought for somebody else. And you willing to, and now, so now you got it where, oh, I want to send them to a better school. That's a disrespect to your race. So in your neighborhood, it ain't no better school. Why? Why the better schools where they at? And if your schools is worse, why if I'm white, why would I want you to come to my schools if your schools ain't no good? You're gonna make mine no good. I don't blame them to a certain degree. I ain't trying to be disrespectful or racist, but blacks, you represent a downgrade. And I'm black. I don't want to say that. I'm not proud to say that, but we represent a downgrade. It's just a fact. We don't represent improvement. Prove me wrong. If we represent improvement, why when black men get money, they marry a white woman? How that represent improvement? You don't even marry your own woman. You telling the whole world your woman ain't nothing. You need a white one. I ain't pushing no racism. I'm pushing where the truth was going. I don't support none of that. So let's get that clear. I don't support no type of racism, but that's a fact. When the black man gets some money, his own woman ain't good enough for him. Your own hair ain't good enough for you. The black woman, you got blonde hair and all that in your head. Look at the black woman's hair. Nappy head, but it's straight in the mud. It's straight, it's yellow, it's blonde, and it's as straight as you could get it. And by the time you get 38, you straight bald head, you fried it all out. Now it's a fake weave up top. Because you don't want to be black. You want to be like them people that don't like your black ass. Can you blame them? I'm just saying. So you put this boy in this situation. He too young to deal with all that racism. I know. I went to Lutheran school, but I had came up in the hood. He didn't come up. And not the hood meaning the ghetto. I came up in a black community where everybody was black. You understand? I came up black. I came up with pride. You understand? That makes a difference. That makes a difference. Y'all don't think it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. It makes an enormous difference. That's why I went to kindergarten. That's me in the back, the second from the left, with the ears sticking out. And this just a third of the class. This just a third of the class. It was three times this many blacks, and this ain't even my classroom because they had to put us in the gym because this the baby boomers. So with so many of us, this is probably the first grade class we took this picture. We in kindergarten. And there's so many of us, they had to put us in the gym. And I grew up my whole life, and all these children was all through the neighborhood. And as I got older, I got reacquainted with them because some of them went to the new school with me. Some of them went to the school in Morgan Park like that. So as I grew up, everybody in my neighborhood went to kindergarten with me. Everybody in my neighborhood. And I grew up like that. Respect, be clean, carry yourself a certain way. Was we beating each other up and all that? No. You know why? Our parents wasn't tolerating that. I grew up in an era where if I'm a little boy and I get into it with another little boy, and somebody go tell my mama me and Keith is fighting, your mama gonna take you down to Keith house, knock on his mama door. His mama gonna take Keith outside in the front yard, you in the front yard, and y'all mamas gonna sit there and make y'all fight. Y'all mama's gonna make y'all fight, right? And y'all gonna fight, right? And then when y'all get through fighting, your mama gonna say to Keith mama, girl, this boy getting on my damn nerves. I'm gonna make Michael come in the house. And Miss Smith said, I'll make Keith come in the house too. Y'all better get y'all ass out here and play and stop all that, or both of y'all coming in. And your mom said, okay, girl, I'll see you later. Mom. And then we go play. Facts. It's a lot of girls because they split us up. And they split us up. No, it wasn't no fat kids. But it's always more girls than boys, right? But there's another whole classroom, right? And everybody worked, everybody had homes, everybody grew up, carried themselves a certain kind of way. And there was no white people nowhere. Except if a police drive by. There was nobody white. I didn't grow up under no white oppression or nothing like that. And as these people start growing up, it's a whole bunch of black police, a whole bunch of black bus drivers, a whole bunch of black politicians. That's Chicago. People be talking about Chicago. No, I don't want to live where you live. I want to live in a black city where you're proud to be black. And so they go and they take the gang situation and make you think it's worse than what it is. It ain't what they telling you, okay? It's a whole bunch of black people here working, making money, got jobs. That's a fact. And so by the time I grow up and I get out of sixth grade, my mama won't send me to a Lutheran school. But I didn't grew up with all them. And then I got to go back home around them. So even though I went to 99th and Hartford to the Lutheran school, right? Even though I go to the Lutheran school, right? I still come back into the hood. So now if I go up to the Lutheran school with whites and I'm older, all these boys grew up with me. So imagine me and all these boys now. We in the seventh grade. What you think gonna happen if I go back over here to this community and tell these boys I grew up with that I'm having some problem with some boys at the Lutheran school? What you think gonna happen? They're gonna get on the bus. When I walk out of school, these boys gonna be there. And it's going to be some overstanding or it's going to be some furniture moving around. Ain't nobody punking nobody. Facts. Because a Lutheran school go to school on days the public schools be out. They don't be out on the same day. So when the public school's out, I tell my friend, hey, some dudes up there messing with me. That's what we call it, messing with me. And they'll be like, all right, Stu, we're going to be up there. What time you get out? And they're going to get on the bus, and when I walk out of school, they're going to be there. And it's going to be some straightening. On top of that, I'm standing on business anyway, so most time they ain't got to come because I'm standing on business anyway. Because we grew up rough and tough. Do it look like we grew up soft? You know what it's like playing with all of them? This is the beauty. Live in your own neighborhood. Have your own schools. Do your own thing. Stop running behind other people living in their damn neighborhoods. I'm really not happy that they took that boy out there. I'm going to just tell the truth. Everybody want to talk about racism, this and that. Y'all took that boy out there and put him in that situation. It's not a white fetish. It's the lack to want to build your own stuff. When your neighborhood gets messed up, get some brooms, get some stuff, run for some office, and fix it back up. Don't run from it. Don't run from it. Don't run from it. It ain't the parents. It take a whole group. It take a whole group. It take more than the parents. It take a whole group. It ain't the parents. It's the black man. It's the black man. Do not take no responsibility in his neighborhood. The black man, he don't want to fix the neighborhood. He don't even want to get a woman. He want to sleep with my woman and then don't want to marry her. It's the black man. You either dominant or you're not. So when you got all these problems and you don't take responsibility, you phony. All the problems we got is because of the black man. And brother, tell me, the black woman, the problems you got with the black woman is your fault. How you got problems with the woman and she weaker than you, and you the masculine one? Make it make some sense. How you not principals and teachers and lawyers and doctors and dentists in your own community? How you have your wife go and get gas from an Arab where black men won't get together, put no money together and buy the damn gas station? You know why you want to buy the gas station? Because soon as I work with you, you start arguing with me. You want to troll me. You want to beef me with me. You don't never want to go against nobody else. All you do is go against a brother. Brothers, log into my account to go against me. Can't wait to go against me. And they don't go against nobody else. And that's why that boy was out there like that. That boy was out there because black people, you got to get yourself together so your children ain't got to run out there. So you won't be saying them is better schools. What's wrong with you, black man? Why he couldn't come and go to your school? Why he couldn't move in your neighborhood? Why he had to move out there? Why they got to move out there in Texas? Huh? But every time I go on the internet, you out there some goofy Bama. Hey man, say man, hey man, with syrup. Hey man, say man, hey man. But your woman got to take her son out there. Because you, hey man, say man, with a bunch of weird colors on, like Sauce Walker, looking like a goddamn bozo, like a clown, like a clown. Straight up like a court jester. Y'all said it. What he gonna do? He's a bozo. He not no G like that. That's what you want your son to be like, Sauce Walker? I mine. What he got? What kind of schools he got where the boy could have went to school with him? I'm just saying. Yeah, Texas. Y'all out there on that syrup, out there slipping. What y'all building where the black woman could come live in your neighborhood? So y'all telling me all of these black movie stars, all these black filmmakers, all these black athletes, and all these black rappers, they can't build no neighborhoods? I'm just asking. All these rappers, all these blacks complain, say they got all this money. NFL, NBA making millions and millions. They can't build no black neighborhoods where that sister could have moved with her baby. Look, this is pissing me off. I got to end this. Hopefully, the brother be all right. I hope he get a retrial. I hope they sue. They need to sue. Karmelo family need to sue the school because where was their medical detectives? Their son should have never been able to get a weapon in there. How he get the weapon in there? Because y'all ain't doing y'all job. The school need to be sued. They had them kids in there on their own. How they have a big old squabble like that? Where was the adults? Where was the adults where they had a confrontation right there? No teacher nowhere? No teacher didn't see the confrontation? Come on, keep it real. I went to school. There was no way we could have been in no auditorium or nothing. And that ain't no way that could have happened. They would have seen us when we started locking up. A male teacher or a female teacher would like, hey, what y'all doing? Nobody didn't see nothing. Listen, man, y'all talk about it over here. This the news. You feel me? This the news. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Come in the comments and let me know what you think.